Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to do the call to order. Welcome to Design Review Board meeting for May 28th at 5 p.m. Paula, would you please call the roll?
Board Member Gibbs,
Here.
Board Member Weil,
Here.
Chair Pro Tem Neve, here, Chair Balta,
Here.
and then just for the record, Board Member Coveney is absent at the moment.
Yeah,
Actually, just for the board's information, I have had communications with board member company and she's running a few minutes late. So we do expect to see her tonight. So we'll let you know when she shows up.
okay, thank you, Bill. That's great. We'll continue with the Pledge of Allegiance. Louis, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Louis. Thank you all. We will continue with the description of the meeting procedure. We will start the meeting with public communications, and that's where any member of the public can come up and speak on anything that is in the purview of the DRB that's not on an agenda item tonight. We will next go to the consent calendar, where the board will review and vote on any previous meeting minutes. Then we will continue to review any modifications of the agenda order. Then we will proceed to the regular order of business. For the regular order of business, I will introduce an item, the address, the design review, or other entitlement numbers. The applicants will then take a seat in the front. The board members will then give their ex parte disclosures, which are communications that we've had with people prior to tonight's hearing regarding any item on the agenda. The staff will then present the summary presentation, which we will have a chance to ask any questions to staff. I will then declare the public meeting open. The applicants will have 5 minutes to present their to the public. The public will then have 2 minutes each to comment on the project. The applicant will then have 3 minutes for a rebuttal. Once that's completed, the board will move to the opportunity to ask any questions of staff, the applicant team, or members of the public. Once complete, I will close the public meeting. Then board commences with deliberation. During deliberations, any action is initiated by the board by a motion, a second, and a majority vote of the board. The applicant or any member of the public who lives within 300 feet of the project who disagrees with the decision of the board tonight will have 14 days from the decision tonight to file an appeal. So we will start off with public comment. Again, anything that is on the purview of the DRB that is not on the agenda tonight. Anyone wish to speak, please step up to the podium. Seeing none, we will continue with modifications. 1 second. Yeah, we will continue with modifications of the schedule. I propose a modification of the schedule for item number 5.5 to be moved to item 5.2. Do we have any objection to that, board members?
So you're saying 5.5 would go ahead of 5.2?
5.5 will go ahead of 5.2, correct?
Okay, I'm fine with that.
I'm fine.
And then we'll continue with San Jose after that. So, okay, I appreciate that. We'll continue with that modification to the agenda order. Now we'll continue with the regular order of business, starting with item number 5.1, Design Review 2025-0875 at 195 High Drive. This is issued for a continuance. Do we have any objections to the request for a continuance?
You can.
You've got to put a public hearing.
Right, yeah.
We do want to open to the
We'd
public
like to
comment.
open to public comment. If anyone has any issue, anyone wish to speak on item number 5.1, please come up. Seeing none, I close the public comment. Anyone on the board wish to comment?
Chair, I'll move item number 5.1 for the recommended continuance date of June 25th, 2026.
I'll second that.
Paula, please call the roll.
Board Member Gibbs,
Yes.
Board Member Wall,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve,
Yes.
Chair Balta,
Yes.
motion is passed 4-0.
Thank you, Paula. Okay, now we'll move to item 5.5, Design Review 2025-1763, Coastal Development Permit 2025-1764 for site located at 26 Lagunita Drive. Ex parte, please.
This was heard before. There's been no changes in the plans, so I didn't make any visit, but I visited it and met with any opposition back when it was initially heard on January 22, 2026.
I just visited the site. I did not meet with anyone.
Evaluated the site again.
I did the same. Sammy, would you please present?
Certainly. Good evening, Chair and members of the board. Item 5.5 is a request to rescind Resolution 2025-1763 and adopt Resolution 2025-1764 for the property located at 26 Lagunita. As the board recalls, this project was previously approved on January 22nd, 2026. The approved project includes residential additions, a new attached 244 square foot ADU, expansion of the existing garage to provide a third required parking space, and a new pool and spa. Following the city's submittal of the notice of final action, the California Coastal Commission advised that additional CDP findings and special conditions addressing coastal hazards were necessary. As a result, the project is being brought back to you for reapproval with revised findings and conditions. No changes have been made to the project scope. And staff has updated the CDP findings, the coastal hazard analysis, and the conditions of approval to address the Coastal Commission's comments while maintaining the board's original approval. So staff recommends that DRB rescind Resolution 2025-1763 and adopt Resolution 2025-1764, approving design review, the coastal development permit, and finding the project exempt from CEQA pursuant to Section 15301. And that is all I have.
Forgive me, Jim, you mind coming on up? This was the applicant.
I'm assuming you're still the.
He's still the applicant. Do any members of the board have any questions for staff?
Chair, I do. So as I understand it, the Coastal Commission had some conditions. And are those addressed added to the resolution, specifically at items 22 to 24 under conditions? Do you know? Or Sammy, do you know what the?
I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but they were the ones regarding the coastal hazards.
The ocean front and left top lot. I think.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. And yeah, I think I looked at it and I just want to make sure that it is, I think it's conditions 22 to 24. Is that right, Bill?
That is right. And also just for the record, the rescission aspect of this action is also reflected in the resolution as section number 2.
Okay. I didn't see that, but I'll look at it. Thanks. No other questions.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Any other members of the board have any comments or questions? Okay, we will open the public, the public comment is open. Applicant team, you have 5 minutes if you wish to take them.
I don't have a presentation, so I think it's just staff clearing up the record, as far as I know.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jim. We will open up the to members of the public. You have 2 minutes for comment if you wish to speak. Seeing none, we will continue to applicant rebuttal, if any.
No rebuttal.
All right, thank you. Does the board have any questions of the applicant? Tom, no? No questions. The public comment is closed. Board will enter into discussion and deliberation.
Can I?
Wants to begin? Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah. We thoroughly vetted this project last time, and I went through my notes and recollection. And, overall, I think it was the board and certainly my view that this project met the guidelines and had no privacy, view equity, or other impacts. There was a building site coverage issue, and it went from, it was over, the current is 44.4%, and the proposed is 48.3%, and we found it justified, and my views haven't changed about the project. With respect to what the Coastal Commission did, I read the conditions. They struck me as totally appropriate and not unusual in any respect, and I can support those conditions unequivocally. So with all that said, I support the new resolution that's before us tonight.
Thank you, Tom. Debbie?
I have nothing to add there. I wasn't part of the decision-making process initially.
Okay, thank you. Louis?
Nothing to add. No, I appreciate the updates to the record. And I find it all concurrent with our prior hearing. And so I'm supportive of the project again.
I do concur with fellow board members. Do we have a motion?
Do you want me to do this one?
Go for it, Tom.
Since I started, hold on a second. Just to get it right, we're going to be approving. All right. I move that the board rescind resolution 2025-1763 and adopt resolution 2025-1764 approving design review 2025-1763 and coastal development permit 2025-1764 for a new pool and spa upper level addition, new attached to ADU, and excess building site coverage for the property located at 26 Lagunita Drive, and finding said action exempt from CEQA pursuant to 15-301.
Second.
Paula, please call the roll.
Board Member Gibbs,
Yes.
Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve,
Yes.
Chair Balta.
Yes.
Motion has passed 4-0 with Board Member Company absent.
Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
It was nip and tuck, but congratulations.
We will move to item number 5.2, Design Review 2026-0814, located at 1020 San Jose Street. Will the applicants please take the seat? It looks like they're here already, so that's great. Ex parte disclosures. Who wants to begin?
Chair, I visited the site and met with the architect, Ali Ashrari.
I visited the site as well and spoke with the applicant team.
I spoke with Jim on the phone, visited the site. There were a handful of contractors there. I couldn't tell which ones were working on this project or the one across the street, but someone guided me to the fence and I was able to observe the project.
I did the same. Staff will present the summary presentation and comments. Daniel?
Thank you, Chair.
Actually, board.
I'm sorry,
Chair, if I
hang
can
tight.
just
Go
jump
ahead,
in
Bill.
before Daniel starts his presentation. Obviously, we do have a staff presentation and staff recommendation this evening, but I just want to make the board aware that a neighbor did submit a request interested in speaking with the board, but unable to attend tonight. So it made the request that I at least let the board know that of his desire to have this item continue to a subsequent date. Certainly that's not staff's recommendation, but just wanted to put that out there for the board to consider as you hear the staff recommendation this evening, as well as the applicant's testimony that your own deliberations agree to consider.
Thank you, Bill. Do any of my fellow board members wish to continue this item, or do we want to hear it tonight?
Let me point out that I'm against the continuance for the reason, among others, that the request for site visit was late. Moreover, the complaining or the person, the neighbor, had sent an email leveling complaints about the project, but not what's the subject of this application, but about probably a prior application for the broader project. I didn't see anything that was really on point for this application. Moreover, from my view of the site, and I walked it with the architect, I didn't see anything that's within this application that implicates any privacy or view equity or other concerns from that neighbor. For that reason, I would support not continuing it.
And I concur. I did not see the request until late last night. However, I'm very familiar with this area, and when I walk the site, I am very aware of the residents that of the gentleman that has some concerns. And when I walked the site with actually your neighbor's contractor, Patrick, and looked back at his home and everything, I think that I don't think any of the issues would have any substance for this particular application.
Thank you, Debbie. Do you want to continue, Louis?
Just well said, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, no, the board finds no reason for continuance. We appreciate the neighbor request, but for the purposes of this meeting, we will hear this meeting on the day today. Daniel, please continue with your presentation. Thank you.
All right. So these are modifications to a prior approval for this project at 1020 San Jose Street. The project site is located here in Archreach Heights. The modifications include a new elevator and elevated deck as shown here in color at the center of the site. As a result of these additions, there's also window and door changes. There are two new doors accessing that new elevated deck and two new lighting fixtures required per building code. In conclusion, the project does meet all the code requirements and the design guidelines. The adjacent neighbor did submit the public correspondence with concerns regarding privacy, lighting, massing, and neighborhood compatibility. It's staff's recommendation to approve this project. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Daniel. Any members of the board have any questions for Daniel? Seeing none, we'll continue to public comment. It's declared open. Applicant team, you have 5 minutes for a presentation if you wish to use it.
Great. Thank you. You have our PowerPoint there, Daniel. My name is Jim Conrad. I'm the project architect, and my associate Ali Shariha is going to present the project.
Okay, this building is under construction, and
Turn your mics on.
So,
There you go.
yeah, this building is under construction, and the owner wants to add the elevator on actually in some courtyard that we have on the project, to add the elevator to access to all levels. And the blue one, the red one is the elevator, the blue one is the deck connected to the master suite. Is a two-way door on the elevator from this side and the other side, go to the deck, go to master bedroom. And then, can you,
Next slide.
next.
There you go.
This is the permit set elevation from front. Yeah, this is existing. If you can see, we have a three big, is a high window, number FGH, and we took out one of the windows, number F, and add the elevator on that corner. Can you put the next one? Yeah, the red one is the new elevator. The height is the same of the permit building, and the blue is the access from the elevator to, sorry, elevator to master bedroom. You have any more?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
wanted to add that, Tom already noted that there's no privacy issues or view issues. We only heard from just the one neighbor that asked for the continuance in the end. We did meet with him. He didn't really want to talk about our project. In his letter, he wanted to talk about a lot of other things that were happening on the site and things like that. So we're not aware of any opposition to what we've proposed tonight, and we ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. We'll now open, we will open to the public for 2 minutes for any comments. Does anyone have any comments on this particular project? Seeing none, the applicant team has 3 minutes if they wish to use it.
No, thank you.
Does the board have any questions of the applicant team? Seeing none, we will close the public comment and the board will enter into discussion and deliberation. Anyone wish to start?
Oh, I can go ahead and start. And as I had said before, I visited the site, walked up there, saw this. I don't see any impact from this very modest request. And I think that it'll just make it easier for the applicant. And I always look for light spillage issues, and I see this as very minimal. There's nothing. So I, for once, have no comments, except that I can support your project.
Chair, I'll be very quick. I agree and can support the project.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, and I find the project to be just a minor tweak to the already existing approval. The elevator will, be helpful to the owner and create better access up and down or throughout the property. It's consistent with design integrity and with the prior approvals. As far as new privacy or any of those kind of concerns, with it being tucked into the corner of the building, like there really is no impacts to neighboring properties based on the location you guys have chose to make this additional improvement. The views still are open at a full diagonal that were considered from the prior approval. So I can be fully supportive of it as it meets the design review criteria.
Thank you, Louis. I also agree with my fellow board members. I think this project meets the criteria for design review board, and I can also approve this project tonight. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it. I'll move to adopt resolution 2026-0814, approving design review 2026-0814 for the property located at 1020 San Jose Street, and find said action categorically exempt pursuant to CEQA guidelines, section 15301.
Second.
Paula, would you please call the roll?
Board Member Gibbs,
Yes.
Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve,
Yes.
Chair Balta.
Yes,
Motion has passed 4-0 with Board Member Coveney absent.
thank you.
Just for the record, Board Member Coveney is present.
Thank you, Paula.
We're going to have to do the pledge of allegiance again.
All right, everyone. We will move to the next item on the regular order of business. I'd like to introduce item number 5.3, design review 2025-1330 at the site located at 186 Sunset Terrace. Applicants, please take your seats. Ex parte disclosures.
Yes, I visited the site and met with Warren.
As did I.
Visited the site and spoke with Warren.
Is the site.
I visited the site, spoke with Warren as well. Sherry Yar, will you please present your summary presentation? Expedited, please. Any objection to that? Expedited. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and members of the board. This is item 5.3, Design Review 2025-1330 for the property located at 186 Sunset Terrace. The request, since the prior DRB hearing on August 14, 2025, the project has been scaled back substantially. An upper level addition is no longer proposed, and now the project is limited to a 36.9 square foot lower level addition, street level addition, causing excess lot coverage in the California gable roof, and some other minor changes, including new windows at the side and rear. Staff can support the request. the findings can be made. The project complies with design integrity and view equity and privacy criteria, and staff can also support the request to exceed the excess lot coverage. This concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Shariar. Do we have any questions of the staff? Seeing no questions, we will continue to public comment. The public comment is, the public comment is declared open. The applicant team, you have 5 minutes for a presentation if you wish to use it.
Hi, so pretty modest, just adding a front, so let me back up. So the front door right now to get in the house is in the living room, but you have to go down the side of the house, up some stairs that shouldn't be there, they're non-conforming, and then go in the house and get to the downstairs. You go back down the same stairs. Anyway, removing those non-conforming stairs, adding a little tiny bed, about 43 square feet, onto the kitchen so that you walk into the house. Normally from the street, you see the front door, little roof overhang. That's it. The house is already over lot coverage. We're adding about, what, Sherry, 1% or something? 2%. 2%. I think every other house in that neighborhood is over lot coverage. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren. Any members of the public wish to speak or comment on this project, please come to the podium. Seeing none, your applicant team, you have 3 minutes for a rebuttal if you wish to use it.
No, thank you.
Do any members of the board have any questions for the applicant? Tom, please.
Warren, my only concern is the overhang in front of the front door. Did you have any discussions with the neighbor about that? I see that in an email, she complained about that losing light and air.
I saw that too. I'm not aware, we have had no discussion with them.
Okay, and is there any reason why you need that element, or would you be willing to remove it?
No, I don't need to remove it. I think it's a nice element. You walk in, you're not baked in the sun, you're not being rained on. I don't really think it bothers anyone. It's a roof only. It doesn't have a roof. It doesn't have a wall on it. Nice and open. I don't agree with what the neighbor was saying.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
Quick question. Across the street, there's an apartment building and then a single family. They had, with the original renovation they proposed, there was some issue with view. I didn't see any issue. I didn't when I drove by, but did you hear from them at all?
Not one peep.
And did you talk to them at all?
They were noticed. We sent postcards.
Okay. Well, they
it's
see
posted.
the story pole.
They can see it. Yeah.
Okay, great.
I can't see how it would possibly be.
I didn't either. Just want to make sure. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we will close the public comment. The board will enter into deliberation. Does someone want to begin? Tom?
Yeah, I think overall it's a minor improvement. It meets guidelines with one exception I'll talk about. I don't see any significant, drawbacks to the project. It's a heck of a lot better, than the prior submission going up the second floor that Nancy Sarah brought to us a while ago, and I appreciate that because it does preserve views from neighbors. The one problem I do have is that overhang. It's a design element, but it's not a necessary design element. And the neighbor's backyard, essentially their patio, is right next to it. And I walked up to it and I looked at it, and it would create, an impact on light and air into their patio area. I don't think the sun shines that way. The sun shines more over the house and to the west. So if it's a balance, if the only purpose is a design element, I would weigh impact on light and air in the house next door over a minor design element. And I don't think it detracts from the overall design or what you're trying to accomplish. So I could support this project, except that roof overhang element on the walkway to the front door.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, I just want to jump in on that overhang. I think it does warrant maybe a reduced overhang for weather purposes, and then maybe some kind of a pergola, in that location.
I would be supportive of a flat pergola, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you really think, I mean, you're going to have, and this is a good point that you make, Chair. You have to walk in anyway, outside the elements, maybe a pergola that's closer to the door. And that would, if you look at her side yard, it comes out and it really hits, right from in the center of between the door and the edge of the garage. I'm looking at that element. And, if it's just to have a place to, take off your galoshes before you go into the door, it rains a lot in Southern California, as we all know. Something that goes over the door, a slight pergola would be fine with me, but not a full thing that goes to the length that it goes now.
Thanks, Tom. Let's see what the other board members have to say, Tom or Louis.
Yeah, I think the overall project's modest. It's a refresh of an old building. It's clean. It's consistent with the neighborhood. It does maintain its single level structure from the street. As far as the new windows, I don't see any more obtrusion for privacy than what exists currently in the configuration or the size. As far as the one element of kind of over their entry points, the garage doesn't connect to the house, so this would give a covered element from going from the garage to the main structure. I think it's relatively consistent to other homes in the area. This is Victoria Beach. Most of these homes are setback to setback, 6 feet apart. So, I mean, to say that it reduces any light and air from what would be unreasonable for your envelope, I just don't see it. So I'm supportive of the overhang and can move forward with the project as proposed.
And I'll go next, Chair. So I also agree with Board Member Weil. In fact, he did not give us a formal request, but the neighbor that it may affect was there, and he didn't have any concerns that I saw. And I think that the overhang is I don't know that it impacts it that much. I think I can approve the project as presented.
Thank you, Debbie. MJ?
Yeah, I concur. It's a little wonky to have that long of an overhang, but I think for the light and air component, that's not really viable. So I can support the project because it doesn't appear to be a privacy issue, and obviously no view issue, which was most important last time. So I appreciate that. I can support the project.
Okay, it sounds like there's a majority here. Do we have a motion? Oh, forgive me. I'll give my comments. I think it is modest, hearing the other board members here comment on the overhang. So I think it does meet the criteria for the design review. Suggestive measure sounded like would be nice for a reduction or maybe some open air, but for the purposes of this board's hearing, I think I can also approve the project tonight. So do we have a motion?
I'll move item number 5.3 at project location 186 Sunset Terrace, that the board adopts resolution 2025-1330, approving design review 2025-1330 for, and finding said action exempt from CEQA guidelines section 15301.
I second. Paula, please call the roll.
Sorry. Board Member Coveney,
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs,
I'll just say quickly that I appreciate the board considering my comments. Obviously, the view is that the pergola, the balance kind of went the other way. I'm going to defer to my board members and I will approve the project. So the answer is yes.
Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve,
Yes.
Chair Balta.
Yes.
Motion is passed 5-0.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks.
Sherry, thank you for all your effort on this one.
All right. Next, we'll move to item number 5.4, design review 2026-0784, variance number 2026-0785 for the project site located at 7 Smith Cliffs Road. Will the applicant please take their seat? Ex parte disclosures, please.
I just went by the property and was not able to reach James.
Visited the site and met with the owner.
I did the same.
I just visited the site.
I visited the site and met with the owner.
Staff, will you please present your summary of your presentation?
Thank you, Chair. I'll be presenting for Clare Park. This project is located at 7 Smith Cliffs Road. It's a request for design review and variance for a rooftop deck.
Is your mic on, Dan?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not close enough.
That's all right.
Can you hear me better now? Okay,
I can hear
all
you
right.
fine.
Thank you.
So rooftop deck and Smith Cliffs. Here's the project site. A little history about the Smith Cliffs neighborhood. It was originally developed under Orange County jurisdiction and annexed in 1993. The height limit under Orange County jurisdiction was 35 feet. And in 2003, the properties were subjected to the city's R1 standards. And that height standard would be 25 feet for a flat lot or up to 30 feet for a lot over 20% in slope. The neighborhood does feature several rooftop decks along this stretch of the street, including 17 Smith Cliffs, which was recently approved, and 11 Smith Cliffs. This deck would be largely screened from the public right-of-way and of Coast Highway and other public viewpoints. Here's a site plan. In orange is the area of the rooftop deck. And here's a section view with the rooftop deck. It does exceed the height limit. And then here's another elevation view looking from the rear. There have been several variances that were approved in Smith Cliffs. Most recently being the 9 Smith Cliffs Road in 2026 to exceed the height limit. 17 Smith Cliffs was for a new single-family home to exceed the height limit and included a rooftop deck. And 11 Smith Cliffs was originally denied by the board, but later approved by the City Council on appeal for to exceed the height limit as well. In conclusion, the project was approved by the Smith Cliffs HOA. Staff does support this request. The design guidelines discourage rooftop decks. However, rooftop decks are a common feature in this neighborhood. And so it's staff's recommendation to approve this project.
Thank you, Daniel. Do any board members have questions for staff? Seeing none, the public comment is declared open. The applicant team, you have 5 minutes for a presentation. Please begin.
We really don't have anything to add to the whole thing, but except for one feature. The owners.
Yeah, there it is.
Pardon me? Yes, thank you. The owner would like to raise the height limitation for 29 feet instead of the 28 feet. That's already been, or that's being considered tonight. Just because of it, maybe to have it done now and not do it, have to go through this again. And he has a letter from the HOA dated today, granting that variance or that height raising. So that's about all we have right there, unless there's some questions. And then the owner Mike Gilbert would like to speak on that.
Let me begin. My name is Michael Gilbert. I am the owner of the property at 7 Smith Cliffs. I met some of you at my house briefly for a couple of minutes as you took a look at it and you left somewhat quickly to go to your other errands. I did get, per your suggestion, from the Smith Cliffs Homeowners Association, from the Architectural Review Board, as well as their Board of Directors, agreeing to raising from 28 feet, the additional 1 foot to 29 feet. So if I may at this time, could I hand this to you, the approval letter from the Smith Cliffs Board of Association. I was pleased to be able to get that within a 1-day period. I was really doubtful that it could be obtained this quickly, but fortunately, the homeowners there are agreeable to moving this 1 foot without objection. If I may, I understand that my request to extend the height from 28 to 29 feet before you today, I'm making this request without having any further delay, and for this reason. About 2 years ago, I started working on this project, trying to obtain an ocean view deck, and I started by going to the planning department to inquire about this request. They pulled up the description of my property, pulled it up on their computer, and they told me that rooftop decks were not encouraged or permitted. And so I said, well, I don't fully understand that objection, because I see all my neighbors at Smith Cliffs that do have the rooftop decks. And it was explained to me at that time that those decks that are at Smith Cliffs were grandfathered in, and that I could not be part of that for that reason. So for the bulk of this time, I have been, due to my own error, I hired the wrong general contractor to assist me. He was not familiar with the rules here in Laguna Beach. And so I was struggling with trying to move this forward. I did learn on April 9, approximately 6 weeks ago, that my neighbor and friend at 9 Smith Cliffs was requesting a height variance to 35 feet, which was granted. I also learned at that time that all my neighbors on my street at 11, 15, 17, 19, and 21 Smith Cliffs had requested height variances to 35 feet, which were granted. Realizing this, that additional 1 foot from 28 to 29 feet is meaningful to me as the owner, because I'm able to see over the trees and over the rooftops at Emerald Bay. Emerald Bay, I understand those properties which are not part of the city, those houses have gone higher, and my ocean view was then taken away. So moving it up this additional 1 foot would allow me to be able to comfortably see the ocean. At the same time, it would not, in my opinion, cause any harm to any of my neighbors. The reason that I believe I need this height extension in the first place is because the handrail, which is glass, is 42 inches, and that takes me into the 28 feet, hence the need for the variance. But the glass,
In closing, you'll have
Oh,
3 minutes for a rebuttal.
the glass, you can see through it, and hence, I think that my request, if it could be done quickly, I would like it to be done, because I don't want to delay this any further than it's taken, due to my own error, by the way, due to nobody else.
Thank you, Michael. We will now open to members of the public. You have 2 minutes. If you wish to speak, please come up to the podium. It doesn't appear to be any. Applicant team, you have 3 minutes for a rebuttal if you wish to take it.
No rebuttal.
Okay.
For me.
Okay. So we will continue. Does the board have any questions of the applicant?
So maybe if I can ask, Daniel, I just want a clarification on a couple of the numbers. I'm looking at A-3, and it's calling out the height, I believe, at 29 feet. So I guess I'm just trying to get clarity. In the upper right corner from the existing west elevation, it shows 29 feet from bottom to top. I appear that's the number.
Yeah, I think that's the existing roof height.
Okay.
However, the deck is a bit lower
Okay.
than that max roof height.
So I guess in question, do the numbers align with, if we move it up 1 foot, does it align with the drawings? And do we have that authority here tonight to accommodate that request, or how can the board proceed on the request?
Right. So I haven't seen this letter from the HOA, but the height they're requesting is up to another foot, which would go up to 28. Sorry, was it 28? 20 up to 29 from 28.
Yeah, we're
The
not.
variance
the
would already
29,
kind
yeah.
of encompass that, right?
Yeah.
It would.
I
Yeah.
didn't see the 28 in this
Well,
on
well,
page. Am I missing it? On page A-3,
Well,
the deck looks like it's a lot lower than 28 feet.
Right. Is that the height to the finished surface of the deck or the height to the top of the railing?
To the top of the rail.
Okay, got it.
That's even then,
No, this doesn't look like.
it's showing
28.
to the top of the railing.
Yeah,
on
well,
this, something
I'd like to
like
hear
30
from,
One second.
I'd like to hear from city staff. Bill,
think
if
if
you
I'm-
can opine.
If I'm reading page A-3 of the plans correctly, and I invite the architect team to double check me here, it looks to me like the height to the top of the blue shaded guardrail is 24 feet, 6 inches from existing natural grade. The 29-foot dimension that you see to the right is the height all the way up to the peak of the roof.
It shows 26.6 on the bottom.
There's 6
You look to the far left, it
on the
shows to the
far
top of the
left.
rail,
I'm seeing
26.6.
a maximum building height of, I'm sorry, on the far left, excuse me.
Yeah, go to the bottom, excuse me, the bottom picture. And if you look to the
Correct.
far left, it's showing 26.6 to the top of the rail, from what I'm reading. If you go to the left,
The,
and 25 feet to the middle of the rail.
no, what I'm seeing on the far left is a 26-foot, 6-inch maximum building height. And that does not,
That's the new code.
that, right, this here.
Are you looking at A3? Yeah, this is the one I'm
Yeah.
looking at right here.
Well, why don't we,
26.6. see,
public
that's
hearing.
right.
That's a
do
different.
do we have any other questions of the applicant, team?
That's 26 also.
Well, I
This
do.
is-
So,
This is-
so
Okay.
That one.
when you're saying 28 versus 29, I mean, I guess I'm confused too. It looks like your roof is at 29, the top of the very ridge of the roof. So are you saying you want the railing even with the very top of your roof?
No.
Oh,
The rooftop is like 29 feet. I'm requesting that the railing be at 28 feet, so it would be about a foot lower than the roof.
I thought you were requesting 29 feet. Did I mishear you?
No, you understand correctly. So thank you for the correction. I'm requesting from 28 to 29 feet.
So
the
it would be
ri-
the height of the top of the roof, the ridge line of your roof. The bottom line is I'm seeing from the height of the railing on the deck at 26 feet, 6 inches. So I'm not sure what we're being asked to modify.
Yeah, and I'll get into that. Do you have
You
any
might
other
know.
questions? Yeah, do you have any other questions?
No.
Debbie?
well, I guess I'm just trying to,
We
I'm
could
looking
talk
at,
about the height thing.
okay, so talk about the height thing. That's amazing.
So we'll continue. Any other, no other questions? Okay. So we'll close the public comment. I'll begin. Pertaining to the addition, with something like this, we need to see the staking. We need to see it in advance. And I think initially when we spoke out in the field, you had mentioned a desire for this, and my initial thought process was like, all right, it's a glass railing. If it goes up a foot, no big deal. But it is a big deal. It is a variance, and that's where it becomes a bit of a kind of a more strenuous approach to it, because there may be public comment, there may be no public comment here from members today, but if it were a foot higher, we don't know, right? We wouldn't be able to judge that here today. And that's the whole idea behind noticing. While we would love to give you an opportunity to restake it, I think that's going to come with an added timeline. I can't speak for all of the board members, but if you were interested in looking at a continuance, I'd be open to it. And then you bring it back to the board at the next available hearing. I think that would probably go a long way. It would just take a little bit of time. But to properly judge this, it is of my opinion that it would need to be staked per our
Chair, are
typical
you
process.
taking comments or are you?
This
from
is
a-
open to
Okay.
deliberation, yeah.
A quick question for you and maybe for staff. If to me that Smith Cliffs is a pretty robust HOA and if they're supporting this, for a foot, I don't see it being a necessary to restake. That's just my opinion, but
Yeah.
we can see what the other board members say. If this was in South Laguna, yeah, but because this is such a specific community, really restricted, I'm kind of leaning towards that, assuming this is a legit letter, which I have no reason to doubt. So,
Yeah, let me speak to that because I agree with MJ in part. I don't, well, number one, for the variance for the rooftop deck, I would not approve it in almost anywhere else but Smith Cliffs because Smith Cliffs has a bunch of these. And I think to deny the variance to this project would be denying them a benefit enjoyed by the numerous neighbors within that. So I think the findings can be made. And moreover, an additional foot, given the location, would have no impact on the neighbors. Where I have a problem is I don't know what we're approving. I see conflicting height. I see in my read of the page A3 is that the height of the top of the rail is 26 feet 6 inches. So I would have a problem it going to 29 feet to the roof line because then I think it takes it out of the variance material and creates a rooftop deck that is even higher than the top pitch of the roof. And I did not see that anywhere else in Smith Cliffs. I might have missed it, but without, you know, I guess I'm kind of on the fence on the going back and a continuance for the staking. I don't know that I could approve a rooftop deck where the railing is at the height of the ridge. So where I am right now is I can approve the variance for the application as submitted, and I think would be opposed to a continuance for a revision to the application. So that's kind of where I am, but I want to hear what others say.
Right, and I agree with very much about what you're saying. I think came in here thinking that I'm approving basically the height of the railing at 24 feet, not 28 feet, as indicated in the top right drawing or rendering that you have on A-3, and which would put, you know, the majority, again, where you would be standing, you're still kind of below that ridge of the ridge of your roof. And I concur. I would not approve rooftop decks anywhere else in Laguna other than Smith Cliffs. And your neighbors enjoy a lot of it. But this basically tucks you from the street or even from your neighbor. It's kind of, you know, you're below that roof line, and I don't see any issue with that. So now I am confused. I wasn't confused before, but I am confused because if the railing is at 28 feet, then I may have an issue if not 24 feet. So I
Can I ask
don't
a
know.
question?
It's
'Cause I
confusing.
see-
We'll let Louis go and then we'll get Bill's input.
Let me just ask a
Sure,
question.
sure.
We're seeing two different figures, and the top figure is showing 24, and the bottom figure is 26.6. So I think we need to know if there's an inconsistency in the plans. Bill?
And I'll be happy to address that, I guess.
Go ahead, Bill.
Okay,
Yeah, go
Bill.
ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let me try. So as to Board Member Gibbs' comment or notation of the 26-foot, 6-inch height dimension.
Yeah.
Certainly the plans show that, but where I believe the plans are measuring that from is the top of curb at the very front of the property. Admittedly, it's probably the correct height dimension, but it's taken from a different point on the property, which is going to be lower because as the property has been graded to slope or for the drainage to run off towards the street. So that's going to be a lower point. What I'm looking at here on sheet A3 on the right-hand side of the deck, and it's both shown on the west elevation and I believe the south elevations, are height dimensions starting first from the ground going up. There's a 6-inch dimension, which would typically be the foundation height. Then there's a 10-foot dimension for the first floor. So now we're at 10.6. There's kind of a plate line of 12 inches. So now we're at 11.6. Then the second floor has another 8 feet, 6 inches, which I believe brings us up to about 20. And then there's another plate line or kind of that top of the second floor, which is another 12 inches. So I think that gets us to 21 feet, which is where where your feet would be, where you would be standing on this proposed deck at a height of 21 feet above the ground level. Then you have the guardrail, which is 3.5 feet. So that gets you from 21 to a maximum height of 24 feet, 24.5 feet.
Right.
Where I'm confused, I guess the concept of can I elevate that deck level by 1 foot seems pretty simple to understand, right? Are you going from 21 feet up to 22?
Right.
Or there's a reference here in the HOA letter talking about 29 feet, and then I'm hearing testimony of 28 feet or 29 feet. That's where I get confused. That's where as a staff person would want to see these plans clarified to identify what the actual dimension lines are that we're using to establish the base level of that deck and then the guardrail to know if we are approving 29 feet, 28 feet, 22 feet, or 21 feet. I'm a little bit confused. I think the concept of I just want to increase the deck level 1 foot is simple to understand. I don't really know what that means in the field.
Exactly. Exactly.
Louis, I'd like to hear your comments.
Go ahead, Louis, yeah.
So I'm just going to ask one question of him real quick. My understanding is you want to raise the floor of the deck up 1 foot and the railing up 1 foot.
Correct.
Okay, so the measurements of 28 or 29, that's the confusing part. If we're going to reference things, we're going to reference the totals that Bill just gave us. And then Bill, are you comfortable that if we do find it to be compatible, can we approve that expansion here on the dais if we make the red line changes?
Do you have any thoughts?
So from a Brown Act perspective and from a notice perspective, I believe the notice does allow that. From a plan perspective, from whether or not staff can, effectively implement that, I will defer to Mr. Rodriguez, and then of course to the deference of the board. That legally, I'm not saying that you guys cannot, but it's up to you whether that's equitable, whether
To
that's.
correct
Bill,
you to
do
have
the
the
plan-
conversation could apply.
Do the plans need clarification, though?
I think if there's a desire to approve it tonight, we have to be explicitly clear what dimension is changing and by how much. And sort of to Board Member Wiles' comment, it would help if we establish a deck is at this elevation, it will then be that elevation. The guardrail is at this elevation, it will then be at that elevation. Certainly the staff analysis in the report and these things have been written up in the resolution. Supporting the variance is all been based off of what's shown on the plans. We, if it makes the board happy, would have to maybe adjust some of those dimensions or some of our analysis to account for this potential additional 1 foot in height. But we just want to make sure that in doing so, it doesn't change our analysis, right? That the deck is still below the roof line of the existing house, that how we analyze the potential views from the north side, or excuse me, the east side of Coast Highway, that those don't significantly change. I don't think they would change in an adverse way, but I mean, that's part of the consideration because we are going up higher now. There may be a slightly larger portion of the railing that is visible, maybe not substantially so, but we just want to make sure that at least in the resolution, if the board directs us to support the project, that we have your blessing to make those presumably relatively minor adjustments to account for that.
Chair, can I ask a question? So to that point, Bill, thank you for that. Would it not be possible for us to say, based on the existing plans at the city that have been approved by our planning department, that we are allowing a variance to exceed the height of the railing 1 foot and the floor of that upper deck 1 foot based on this and only this. And then we could get that doesn't violate any acts, any notices. It provides them this plan and the story poles related to this, based on those story poles, 1 foot from that story pole. And so that could be validated with the all the final measurements that have to be done.
I
with
think
the
you could. So
section.
as the board is aware, right, we put the story poles up to try and mirror what the mass and bulk of the structure is going to be. It helps for neighbors to understand what the proposal is. It helps you when you make your site visits to understand what is happening, where it's happening, what that might look like. The fact that you've been out to the site, that you have seen that, allows you, in my opinion, and I'll defer to the attorney if you would like to correct me, but in my mind, now that you're hearing the request, I'd like to go up a foot higher. I think you can visualize what that change would be. And I think here at the dais, you're able to assess whether or not you think that would have a substantial adverse impact or not.
One
and
quick
then provide
question
direction with
too.
that.
Doesn't a railing require to be 4 feet 2, not 3 feet 6?
No, it's 42
42
inches.
inches,
to be
yeah.
42
6
inches.
correct.
Oh, that's right. Okay. 3 feet 6. Yeah, 42 inches. I stand corrected.
Keep the map on this side. All right.
Bill,
Very-
I'll jump in. Bill and Pat, thanks for the clarification. I think it makes it pretty clear for me. I think going the additional foot wouldn't be a problem for me. I just want to jump in there if anyone else wants to jump in. Go ahead.
I'll just finish my comments. Some of
I just wanted to ask Chair, I don't know if it's something you need to just acknowledge, have the applicant, that he's in full understanding of that. I mean.
yeah, I already asked him that. So we're good.
We understand.
So,
Did you do a private little?
no, I just asked him before we threw question. Bill.
No, he said he's just asking for a 1 foot addition.
He's one foot to this. Yeah,
Based on these plans.
Correct. Okay. So in general, the project's modest. It's really just this deck we're talking about. I think as far as Smith Cliffs goes, it's a very unique neighborhood in all of Laguna. Almost all the houses have variances for height in some form or another. They're very large lots. They're very large developments. They're very spaced out. There's lots of privacy across these homes. Lots of trees and vegetation that also accompany these homes. As far as the deck itself as proposed, I'm 100% fully meets the design review criteria. As for this unique circumstance for the request to have 1 foot, I'm supportive of it for the reasons of being up there, being behind the house and kind of seeing other neighboring decks that are these rooftop elements are actually higher than what was staked and proposed for this property. So to say that if he goes up 1 foot, it's still within line and neighborhood compatibility for Smith Cliffs. I don't think the privacy or the view impacts change any dynamic for any neighboring property. And then furthermore, from Coast Highway, from the lower deck, I couldn't even see Coast Highway. And I don't think there's a line of sight for anyone on Coast Highway or from a public view to actually see this difference and change. So substantially, I don't see any difference between trying to go up a foot. I think for my own dynamic of the plans, it's that second level, instead of it being 8.6 of a riser, we're going to change that to a 9.6 between floor and the height of the joist. And that'll push the deck up 1 foot. And so if staff can be okay with those red lines, I can be supportive of them this evening.
And well, and I guess the only thing to add then, I guess, would just be clarification in the record from the homeowners association, because then that would make it completely confusing and different than what we're approving. So, I would guess, I don't want to make an assumption, but I would guess that anything lower than what they're saying at 29 would also be acceptable.
Right.
But I just want to make sure that we're, that
So
that all those Ts and Is are crossed.
Yeah.
maybe to make a suggestion for the board to consider, but would that sounds kind of like it might be a condition of approval to ask for the HOA maybe to provide an updated
that,
approval letter that maybe specifies a specific
Yeah,
height that matches kind of
I
what we
would be,
discussed?
before you kind of, set on that, I just don't think it's necessary for a couple of reasons. One is, it's not a required, that we can approve projects that don't have that approval. Second of all, they're saying 29 feet. We're going way below that
right,
based upon the measurements. I think the two aspects that make this approvable by me tonight is, one, the 1 foot is not going to make any impacts in the neighborhood and is consistent. And number two is, I think the confusion in the plans are all under 28 or 29 feet, all well under the roof line, and they can be resolved by staff. So I'm prepared to
Right.
go forward.
right. I just didn't know whether that was part of what staff needed. And so, again, based on the elevations from 24 to 25 feet at the railing, as you explained, Mr. Rodriguez, I think that can
24.6.
get my support.
Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, I think we're all on board here. The project as
you want me
it's
to make-
designed, yeah, it does meet the criteria, and we can definitely approve the additional 1 foot. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, I move that we adopt Resolution 2026-0784, approving design review 2026-0784 and variance 2026-0785 for the property located at 7 Smithcliffs Road, and find said action categorically exempt with CEQA 15301 and 15305, with the following modification, that the rail and deck as shown on Plan A3 on the upper portion, which I think is the western, can be raised 1 foot. In other words, the deck up to the deck itself and the rail can each be moved up to 1 foot. And from our look, that's an elevation of 24.6. However, from the base elevation, so it would be to 25.6. However, there seems to be some confusion in the plans. To the extent there's any confusion, staff can resolve it consistent with the plans as proposed in this application with the 1 foot modification.
Second.
Board Member Coveney,
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs,
Yes.
Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve,
Yes,
Chair Balta.
Yes.
Motion has passed 5-0.
Congratulations. All right, moving on to item number 5.6, postal or design review 2026-0789, coastal development permit 2026-0890, variance 2026-0790 for this property located at 536 Bluebird Canyon Drive. Will the applicant please take your seats? Ex parte, please.
yes, I met with both the architect and the owner of the project at the site.
As did I.
I had previously not gone to the project.
I visited site, exchanged messages with the applicant.
Yeah, I think we drove by it twice because we missed it the first time. But we got there and got to see the site and evaluate it from. So thank you.
All right, moving on to the staff. Sammy, would you like to present?
Yes. That's okay.
We could do an expedited hearing on this one.
Okay. Item 5.66 is a request for a design review, coastal development permit, and a variance for the property located at 536 Bluebird Canyon Drive. The property is located on the downslope side of Bluebird Canyon Drive and has a mapped watercourse that crosses the rear portion of the site. The proposed project consists of enclosing an existing 204 square foot upper level deck to create additional living area and reconstructing the loft level deck above it. Design review is required for the upper level addition. CDP is required because the property is located within an ESA, and the variance is required because portions of the project project further into the required rear setback and watercourse setback, and because the residence exceeds 1,500 square feet and has an existing non-conforming parking condition. The elevations show the proposed addition and show it projecting into the additional building setback, but it does not increase the overall height of the structure. And here you can see the water course. The footprint of the building is not changing, so there's no ground disturbance required for this project. And in conclusion, staff can find that the project complies with all the design review guidelines and the LCP, and the variance findings can be made as well for the water course and the additional building setback. And the parking variance has been approved on this site before for the same constraint reasons. So staff recommends that the DRB approve and adopt the resolution for design review, CDP, and variance, and find the project exempt from CEQA. Thank you.
Thank you, Sammy. Do any members of the board have questions of staff? Seeing none, we will open the public comment. The applicant team, you have 5 minutes if you wish to use it.
Sure. I just wanted to say that we're just doing a modest addition to this already small house, and we're just building within the building footprint and rebuilding the deck above in its exact same place that we had to remove it to build this addition. And that's all.
Okay, thank you. Members of the public, you have 2 minutes if you wish to comment. Please come up to the podium. Seeing none, we return to the applicant. You have 3 minutes if you wish to.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Board, any questions of the applicant? Seeing no questions, the public comment is closed. The board will now enter into deliberation. Who wants to begin?
I'll go ahead and begin. As the architect indicated, this is a very modest request. And I think that just by enclosing that and, all of the issues were there before, the water course, the parking issues and that, and this, I don't think that it increases that impact whatsoever. And so I can support the variance and support the application as presented this evening.
I completely agree with Board Member Neve's comments. Yeah, the project's design review compatible. I think as far as in those things, the majority, this is supermodel. This significant, we'd be looking at certain things to conformity. Again, this is just a light little ton of cleanup of a couple of things, and the homeowner should be able to do that. So I'm supportive of it this evening.
And all good. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I concur with my fellow board members. I can support the project tonight.
Yeah, my concern is on the parking and, with the variance with respect to the parking. However, I agree with Board Member Weil. That is such a minor project that it's hard to say in this kind of a project that you've got to comply with covered parking requirements. If this was a more major one, I think I would have a different point of view. And if you ever came back with a more major one, because the parking there is into the public right of way, which does trouble me a little bit. And so I think, and I was kind of on the fence, kind of going both ways when I saw the project. But I think the most compelling statement is this the kind of project that we want to say you can't do unless you do all this stuff with the parking and change the front of the house and so forth? And I don't think it is. So I can support the project tonight, and I think I can make all the findings for the variances.
Thank you, Tom. I too can support the project tonight. I think it meets the design review criteria. Do we have a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion. I move to adopt Resolution 2026-0789, approving design review 2026-0789, coastal development permit 2026-0890, and variance 2026-790 for the property located at 536 Bluebird Canyon Drive, and find the action exempt from CEQA pursuant to Section 1501, with all the support for the variance and design review criteria outlined in staff report.
I'll second.
Paula, please call the roll.
Board Member Coveney.
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs.
Yes.
Board Member Weil.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve.
Yes.
Chair Balta.
Yes.
Motion is passed 5-0.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on our order of business is item number 5.7, Design Review 2026-0854, Coastal Development Permit 2026-0875, Variance 2026-0855 for the project site located at 139 Moss Street. Will the applicant team please come up? Ex parte disclosures.
I visited the site and was given a wonderful tour by the owners.
I visited the site and didn't get that same tour.
We would have been happy to. Same with me. I visited the site, but didn't get the tour.
We didn't get the tour either. But
Let's go. Listen, all I had to do, was ask. I said, can I get a tour? And well, I actually said, I need to see every inch of this property.
it should have been my answer. But just seeing the parts that are closer to the street, which is where the significance of the project are being requested. This is by far one of the most iconic homes in Laguna.
Exactly.
And we'll let you present as there's some fun comments on
I
this.
did the same as Lewis, staff. Sammy, would you please present? Thank you.
Happily. Item 5.7 is a request for design review, coastal development permit, and variance for the property located at 139 Moss Street. The project is located on the oceanfront property on Moss Point in the R1 zone. The proposed project consists of exterior and minor interior modifications to the existing residence, including expansion of the kitchen, expansion of the detached garage from a one-car to a two-car garage, window and door revisions, construction of a new pergola adjacent to the exercise room, and construction of a pergola over the ADU parking area, as well as extension of the front porch steps. Design review is required due to the scope of the exterior modifications and upper-level addition for the kitchen expansion. A CDP is required because portions of the development are located within 50 feet of the coastal bluff edge, and a variance is required because both the garage expansion and the pergola over the ADU parking space project into the required front yard setback. This slide illustrates the proposed garage expansion that requires the requested variance. Although the garage footprint is being expanded, the addition remains subordinate to the primary residence and is designed to minimize site disturbance. This expansion provides the minimum number of covered parking spaces, bringing the site's parking into compliance. Here we can see the proposed pergola over the ADU parking area. And similar to the garage expansion, this pergola is in the front yard setback and also requires a variance. Staff finds that the project complies with the design review guidelines, applicable development standards, and the certified LCP. The proposed improvements maintain the historic character of the residence, they're compatible with the surrounding neighborhood, and they do not result in adverse impacts to public views or view equity. And staff finds the requested variances are justified due to the unique physical constraints of the site and the established location of the existing garage and parking improvements. And with that, staff recommends that the DRB adopt Resolution 2026-0854, approving design review, coastal development permit, and variance at 139 Moss, and finding the project categorically exempt from CEQA pursuant to sections 15301 and 15331. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Sammy. Do any members of the board have questions of staff? Seeing none, we will open public comment. It is declared open. The applicant team, you have 5 minutes if you wish to use it.
Sure, thank you. This thing on. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for having us. Appreciate your time. I'm Alex Villalpando with CJ Light Associates with the architects. We're very fortunate to have the privilege to work with the Miras on this project. Obviously, it's a very iconic home. I've been working here for over 30 years, and every time I see that home, it's just breathtaking. If I told Nolan if I could afford it, I would have bought it before he did. And we're fortunate to have a client like him who wants to keep the integrity of it. He's very sensitive to the site, to the history behind the home. And so when we started, working with him, we understood what he wanted to accomplish. He wanted to keep the house as it is with just minor improvements to make it more, to not modernize it, but to bring it, to clean it up. It needed some TLC. So that's why we're here. And I think as Sammy went through the report. It's a pretty minor addition, just cleaning up the home, adding that extra parking space to comply with 2-car parking, a garage. Pergolas add just kind of a neat, just an accent to the home. And overall, yeah, we've run it by Heritage. They all improved. They were in line with us, and so they appreciated what we're doing, and they appreciated that we didn't change the footprint and that we just made some really neat improvements. And again, it's just, we want to make sure that this house has been around for 100 years, and we hope it's around for another 100 years, and it's there. It's just an amazing project.
Sammy did a very nice job summarizing the project. We we very much want to keep the historic character of the home. And so we worked very closely with the historic consultant that was assigned by the city. The assessment that she made, we actually made some changes, some items that she did not agree with, we actually took out. And then all that remains are all the things that she approved. And so, and even before this, we had a permit to repair and replace the shingles in the windows. We worked with her to ensure that the shingles, the windows were all compliant with SOIS. So and then we made a number of changes on the outside. The hardscape, the masonry work, also had them come out and approve what we could and could not do. And so very conscious of maintaining that historic character of the home, because we get we're right in the fishbowl. Everybody looks down at our home, and we're happy. We're very lucky to be in that home. And so just look forward to being able to restore the home to its previous glory, and hope to be living there another 100 years too. Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the public, you have 2 minutes. If you wish to comment, please come up to the podium.
WD-40 in the truck.
Pardon me?
I got the WD-40 in the truck.
Someone threw my tennis balls over their tennis court. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Paul Merritt, Woods Cove Association. Thank you for your time and patience with this. We had a slideshow prepared for you for this afternoon. Unfortunately, the person that prepared the slideshow cannot appear because she's disabled and bedridden right now. And so I was told I could not narrate the presentation, which shows clogged traffic and one issue of the height being raised. There's been 2 professionals that have told me the height is not what the staking has represented. I want to thank our neighbor for being a good neighbor and fixing up his property. I wish a lot more people could do it, and a lot more people could afford to do it. So we're very appreciative of that. The city manager Kiff sent a memo out 8 days ago approximately, and he admonished the DRB in planning that there better be a deeper review of objective planning and not subjective planning. What does that mean in English? It means exactly what our issue is, our problem. I have made 23 different complaints in a year and a half to everyone from code enforcement to planning to the police department. The contractors are the ones at fault here. They have clogged the public street beyond belief. They take up 80% of the scant 11 parking places all day long. They've made it a nightmare because this is a serial project. First it was an ADU, then it was cranes, and now we're doing the improvement stage, which we are congratulatory of the owner. I would like to offer a solution so we can all end on a good format, and that is that if the architect and the owner would agree to restrict contractor parking from 500 feet from the entrance of the property, then we can go on our way. They can come deliver their product, everything. But once they're there, to go elsewhere in the neighborhood and not take our few precious, our parking places, which is always a fight, as you can imagine, with the tourists. So if the architect would approve that, we would say yes. If the architect and the owner say no, they won't approve it, accept that, then we would ask that the Planning Commission adopt an amendment, a simple amendment saying that during the project, then we would withdraw our objection to the kitchen and the pergola, which is something I was unaware of until tonight. So we'd like to move on, but we'd like to have a livable neighborhood. And in the old days, the contractors had to shuttle, had to walk, and they couldn't just take every parking place in a row for 7, 8 hours a day. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Paul. Any other members of the public wish to speak? Seeing none, I return to the, oh, I'm sorry. We got one more. Come on up.
I'm sorry. I am Debbie Lewis. I live actually, my house sits up very high and I look down on, no offense or anything, I don't look down. I look at the Moss House and my family's been there for 67 years. My father-in-law bought my home from the family that built it in 1927. So it's a 2-family home over the last 100 years. And this home is absolutely the treasure of our neighborhood. It actually has an interesting history that I think we should all be aware of and really grateful for. And it was almost lost in the early 70s. It was saved by the Morthlands, and my father-in-law was best friends with them and an attorney, and he was involved in the bidding process. They bought it literally on the courthouse steps. It was going to be developed into condos. And so fortunately, that property got saved then. Again, 20 years later, the Point House and the property right behind it was subdivided again, and there was going to be a big, huge house that was going to really block the whole view corridor for our whole neighborhood, for the public, for everybody. And again, that was saved when the former owner ended up buying that lot, mainly for his privacy. But I think an important thing here, you've already read my letter, I'm in 190%, 200% in support of everything that they do over there. It's incredible. And they involve the neighbors, and they're so respectful for everything that they're doing over there as far as the neighbors go. But no owner has ever lived in that house since 1970, when it was saved from being developed into condominiums. And Nolan and Trudy bought this house as their primary residence, as their home. And they've worked so closely with everybody in everybody's best interest to keep everybody happy and proud of that home there. And as you've already said, to my knowledge, Heritage Committee's already approved everything. There's no character defining features that are being altered, and I support and truly hope that everything will be approved. It's a special landmark home that was that lucked into getting these guys as their stewards, and hopefully for more than another 100 years, maybe 200 or 300 years. But thank you guys for your time and for your community service.
Thank you, Debbie. Any other members wish to speak? Please come up.
Hi, my name is Sue Tan. I'm a resident of Laguna Beach, represent the public resident of Laguna about the 139 Moss Street. And I'm hoping that the owner will maintain the original character and also the vintage charms of the 1917 estate of this property on the oceanfront home, because I always walk by there to go to the Moss Street of the beach there. And I hope that with the renovation, to make sure that it still retain the aesthetic of the historical, because it's so important. The sacred of the Laguna Beach, we want to preserve it. That's the most important. I know that you want to renovate your garage just to make sure it retain the historical side, so that people still value the historical home of the Laguna Beach, of the architecture. You know, we have all this charm house tour, you know, to preserve of the Laguna Beach. So we want to still continue the next 100 years or 200 years old. People come to Laguna, still value your estate, the 139 Moss Street. So I hope that architecture on the forefronts should be maintained, because I used to live in a house It's built by Laman Longworthy. It's a very famous architecture, and it's also featured in the Museum of the Laguna Beach. But a lot of people who bought the house that built by this architecture, they rebuilt the whole thing, they tear it down. So it loses the value of the original, the architectural of the famous people here to build the house, to be part of Laguna, the legacy of the Laguna Beach, you know. So I hope that we can continue maintain all this aesthetic as a historical that build up who we are here in Laguna Beach. And also the house that I live, because they paint over with the painting instead of kind of restore it. So I love like all this old vintage home that have a value should be restored. You know, instead of repaint the color to yellow or gray color, you know, it loses the value. I think to retain your property value, if you preserve the vintage, is much more value. You know, people love to know your
Thank you.
property is the 1917. Can you believe? We are going to celebrate 100 years old of Laguna soon. So we hope that we continue preserve. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other members of the public wish to speak? Okay, we return to the applicant. You have 3 minutes for a rebuttal.
We have none. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any members of the board have any questions for the applicant? Debbie?
Yes, I would really like a tour.
You got it.
You got it, Dale.
Don't
Don't forget the rest of
Depth
us.
House is worth getting a tour. And probably one of the first houses I saw when I got on the board.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but that was one of the first ones.
So we will close for the public comment. The board will enter into discussion and deliberation. Tom, please begin.
Yeah, since I got the tour, I wanted to make a few comments about the historical aspects of the application, because when we consider an application like this, the changes can be small, but they have to maintain the historical character of this house. And I also note, and I applaud you for making a Mills Act contract for this house. If there's ever a house on Laguna Beach that's deserving of that, it is this house. I'll also start by saying I had the pleasure of meeting Connie Mortland in the 80s. I worked extensively with her on a matter which I could almost write a book about. Wouldn't sell any, but I was able to walk that house, throughout the house and everything else in 1987, believe it or not, and multiple times. And it was gorgeous then. It needed some work. And the fact, which is not the subject of this application, but the fact that you're restoring this house is a tribute to, or, you know, a benefit, a huge benefit to this community. And I want to applaud you, the MERS, for taking on that task and being willing to do that rather than something entirely different. It is incredible. And I forgot how great it was. And I also point out one other thing, is you took a lot of landscaping away that was present even when I was there. I didn't remember so many different beautiful landings. There's fences, there's rock fences throughout the property, or rock railings that were built back in the 1910s that the MERS uncovered and beautified. It is truly a gem for Laguna Beach, and I hope you do it on, put it on the tour. I might actually go on that one, and Debbie certainly will drive it. So,
Thank you.
okay, so let me go on to the matters. I walked the project with the Muras and looked at the changes from windows to doors to the extension of the garage, and they were all in character and in no way detracted from the historical aspect of the house. They're minor, but even at being minor, they were considerate of the historical features of the house. A lot of them are recessed, not seeable to the and then all of them are consistent with the overall architecture of the home, as if those changes, had they been made in when the house was originally built, would have been totally in character. So I find every aspect of what's being proposed consistent with the architectural and historic design. With respect to the variances, there's, you know, the different aspects, from the pergola for the parking by the ADU to the extension of the garage, to a two-car garage. There's land there. And you have to consider with the variance is special circumstances. And the special circumstances are multiple. They're in the staff report. I find them all convincing, but overall, I find one really convincing. And that is to make these changes anywhere else on the property would detract from the overall historic ambiance of the property. If you look at each one of the variance items, they don't detract from the house. They are removed from the house kind of along the street side or by the ADU. And I think to put them anywhere else that would not invade setbacks or whatnot would be a terrible disservice to the historic nature of the house. And that shouldn't be overlooked in evaluating the variances that are being asked for here. So those are my thoughts. I wholeheartedly support this project.
Debbie?
Yes, I mean, I think it's, I don't know that I can add a thing to what my fellow board member Gibbs had said, because it's just, again, viewing it from the street, and after reading this and reading with working with Heritage Committee and all of that, I mean, you really went the extra mile, I think, to bend over backwards and to really keep this treasure a treasure. And so I also applaud your work that you've done. And I think that it's a very modest request and it's all in character. I can absolutely support the project and the variance as written. And staff, you did a great job. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. MJ?
Yeah, I concur with my board members here. It's always nice when a beautiful special home finds the right beautiful special owner. So I wish you all the best there, and I can support the project tonight.
Thank you.
Lewis?
Yeah, and I'll concur with my prior colleagues. I think Board Member Gibbs said it really well. This is a few updates to an older structure that bring a few elements into conformity, but still really honor the historical character and the Secretary of Interior standards to really the fullest. So commend you guys on those efforts for making just the right little tweaks to, move this home to more functionality, but by maintaining its characteristics and beauty, because the site is one of the more iconic single-family homes in all of Laguna. To be honest with you, hopefully the flagpole stays out there and, big American flag, but it is one of the coolest properties. I don't really have much to add. The variances are all compatible, and I agree with what staff wrote up for them. As far as the few comments we did receive from the public regarding kind of the staging, just make a note to the building official that, the area is compressed and we're heading into summertime. So just be mindful of it. But really that does fall into the building officials, and, contractors do park in the public parking spots all throughout town, and it's just part of it. So
Those darn contractors. So
I'm supportive of the project this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
I too am supportive of the project. I think the variance findings to be met. I think this, it's relatively modest compared to the scope of the home. So do we have a motion?
Can I have the honor?
Yes, Yes, Tom.
All right, I move that the board adopt resolution 2026-0854, approving design review 2026-0854, coastal development permit 2026-0875, and variance 2026-0855 for the property at 139 Moss Street, and find said action categorically exempt from CEQA 15301 and 15331.
Second.
Paula, please call the roll.
Board Member Coveney,
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs,
Yes.
Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve,
Yes.
Chair Bauta.
Yes.
Motion is passed 5-0.
Congratulations.
I'll mention one more thing. There's a room in this house that is named the Wilson Room, because when Wilson was president, he stayed at the house in that room.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, when we were demoing, we found Woodrow in there.
They've been looking for him for years.
All right, thank you very
Thank
much.
you,
We
board.
appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. We are. Yeah, we could put it, put that as a condition that you get a tour.
Nolan, I
you.
would have anyone tour except these four. I mean, just avoid them like the plague.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, moving on to the last item for our regular order of business, design review 2026-0292 for the site located at 2611 Glen Eyre Street. Will the applicants please take your seat? Thank you. Ex parte, please.
Yes, I visited the site and spoke with the owner.
Same.
And I visited the site and spoke to Matthew, the architect.
I drove by the site.
Visited the site and spoke with the owner as well. Will the staff please present expedited, please, Matthew?
Hey, good evening. Thank you for welcoming me. Tonight, I'll be discussing item 5.8, which is a request for design review at 2611 Glen Eyre Street. This is the site plan. The applicant is proposing to construct an in-ground swimming pool, spa, and associated equipment, on-grade deck addition, exterior modifications, window and door modifications, and grading. Project is in compliance with the design review guidelines, development standards, and required findings in that it does not substantively impair views, privacy, and will be compatible with the development present in the neighborhood. Staff, along with the applicant, Matthew McGrain, and property owner Carl, are available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Any questions of the board to staff?
I guess
Louis?
real quick, is there a landscape plan? Did I miss it? Or, I mean, just usually with the pool, there's a good kind of top view of the site plan with the pool on it and the location. I see the elevations and the sides, but
Let me see.
2.0.
Okay. I think there was a few different renditions of this plan set, and if it's not the one that was submitted, this is the one, the landscape plan is here.
2.0.
I thought there's a bunch of A7 series as well, but that looks to be all hardscape. Yeah, just for the record, what I was referring to the A7 series, which appears to be hardscape with landscaping. But I didn't notice the landscape plan either. Is it A2?
A2.0,
Okay,
where it says floor plan, but yes.
I didn't notice that.
But are all existing landscaping staying the same, or how's that being recorded?
Yes, it's being remaining the same. There's just a majority of it is hardscape with a turf area to the south of the property.
Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, we would open the public comment. The applicant team, you have 5 minutes for a presentation if you wish to use it.
Sure. We can go ahead and keep it on this slide. Essentially, the project is pretty straightforward. What you can see is the existing single-family home. It's a very modest house with an existing deck. The deck is currently raised and in fairly old condition. Our plan is to push out the deck just a few feet to match the back of the house, add a swimming pool, a spa, and then just some simple hardscaping down where you see those chairs as well. The turf area, as mentioned by Matthew, that's existing. The green dots kind of right outside of the house, those are existing landscapes. There's a beautiful trellis that wraps around. We're not really trying to change anything like largely as far as layout goes and such. The other modifications on the house, which are on the A7 series, those are really going into looking at the exterior materials that we're planning to use around the property. So this view shows kind of the top view is kind of an axon looking down onto the house. The roof stays the same. We're going to add some stone around the majority of the house, as well as some board and batten siding in a couple areas where you see the umbrella as well. Again, the project is mostly non-viewable from the street. There's a lot of vegetation that wraps around it. We're trying to keep our adjustments fairly minimal.
Thank you. Members of the public, you now have 2 minutes. If you wish to speak, please come up to the podium.
Hi, Jennifer Zider. I am the neighbor to the west of Carl. First of all, I have to say that I think the design itself is beautiful, and I support the design and the development. There is an issue that the neighbor and I, Carl, are working on, and we're going to handle that on our own. Okay, so I don't want to hold up this project at all. The only concern I had to do with the excavation of 51 cubic yards, because my house is on the downhill slope. It's a little slightly steeper slope. So Matthew was kind enough to point to me in the resolutions where it seems like they deal with that with the soil engineers, et cetera, at the time that they come through, maybe a shoring plan. That's my only concern. Other than that, I think it's going to be a beautiful project, and Carl's a great neighbor. All right, thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
for your comments. The applicant team, you have 3 minutes to respond if you wish.
I'll just mirror. We will definitely, after this hearing, go through, get the proper geotechnical engineering done. We want to ensure absolutely no disturbance to any neighbor's land or anything along those lines.
Thank you for that. Do any members of the board have any questions for the applicant?
Just one quick one. I just wanted to, you had indicated that you think that you can save that tree, and I see that it is on your plans. Are you going to try to save that beautiful tree in the backyard?
You bet.
The Torrey pine, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the last surviving. I'm a
And I-
tree hugger now.
It's good.
I love my tree.
Good.
Any other questions for the applicant team? Seeing none, we will close the public comment and the board can enter into discussion. MJ, why don't you begin?
Yeah, this is modest changes and upgrades to a lovely lot, and making it more fun for you and your whoever might live with there.
Yeah.
That seems invasive, sorry. Nice to know that you are a good neighbor. Thank you for that. So I think your use of materials is good. I love what you're doing with your front driveway and creating that planter and kind of cleaning that whole area up and making it visually a great curb appeal. That's really nice. Just as you work with your neighbors on this, because I didn't really drill down in lighting, I know you had 6 and 6 lights. Just make sure that you are aware of a lot of light spread that can come sometimes from pools. And I don't know if we need to put a timing on the pool lights, if that's an issue. And I know maybe one of you guys will talk to that. But yeah, I could support the project tonight. It reads all design view criteria.
Thank you, MJ. Debbie?
Okay, ladies first, I see. Okay, so yes, I think that was the only thing. There's a lot of hardscape, a lot of potentially reflective with the lights. So just I don't see an excessive amount, but just be sure, and I know staff certainly indicates having the proper shielding, but also sometimes, sometimes a timer may be appropriate. And so just, I'm not going to condition anything, but just take a hard look at that, because you do have a lot of hardscape in your whole plans.
Tom?
Sure. Yeah, I looked at the site and looked in the backyard from down below, and this is well protected from neighbors. And, with a pool and a spa, it's well located. I appreciate that you're going to maintain the landscaping around, because I had looked for a landscaping plan. I couldn't find it, but I kind of saw it in here, and I'm not going to require it or, suggest that it be required as a condition, but it sounds like it's almost a necessity. And it's consistent, I think, with A 2.0 as well. It actually is a very cool area, and you're going to have a wonderful backyard there without it impacting. And I appreciate a neighbor came by and supported the project. With respect to the removal of, I think it was 53 cubic yards, that is pretty minimal and is unlikely to cause a serious problem. Where we see like 1,000 or more will require a geotechnical at our level. I feel perfectly, particularly in light of what's been said, I feel perfectly comfortable leaving that to building further on to make sure that there's adequate shoring so that it doesn't impact adjoining neighbors. And Jennifer, so that's done all the time, wherever there's any kind of excavation. but it doesn't rise to the level of DRB doing anything about it. So with that said, I support the project.
Thank you, Tom. Lewis?
Yeah, so as far as the alterations to the home, it's very neighborhood compatible. It meets the design review criteria. It's just really modest little cleanup. And I think it will be a beautiful home once it's done. As far as the pool and the location, I think it meets the design review criteria. It's a small, modest sized pool, just tucked in the corner, tucked up to the house. The spa is in an ideal location. And the mechanical equipment's vaulted per the plan. So I think they really did everything that to be considerate and mindful for impacts. As far as the structural, like Board Member Gibbs, this would be secondary into the building plan sets for a project this size. But I'd be hard pressed to put any further conditions on that, given the smaller nature, and it's not thousands of cubic yards. I mean, this is just probably 2, maybe 3 trucks of removal. So
We got a
A lot of
clarification.
it is staying on site.
yeah, most of it's
Some it-
staying on site. So okay, cool.
We had a
Even better.
clarification on record. She said 5 trucks, so I mean, you two
We'll
duke it out.
compromise at 4, no more than 4 trucks.
But go ahead, by all means, do this project. It's a good one.
Charming home, much, modest from our scope that we're typically used to looking at with regard to views. So I think the criteria for the design review can be met. I think this project can be approved. I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution 2026-0292 approving design review 2026-0292 for the property located at 2611 Glen High Street and finding said action categorically exempt from SEQA pursuant to section 15303.
And I'll second.
Paolo, please call the roll.
Board Member Coveney,
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs.
Yes.
Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve,
Yes.
Chair Bauta.
Yes.
Motion has passed 5-0.
Congratulations. Yeah. Moving on from our regular order of business, do we have any other business that we wish to discuss here today?
Yeah, I object to this meeting. We didn't have one argument on we almost had one, but I backtracked.
You want to argue there, Tom? We can
Yeah, we
argue.
got to come up with something to argue about before we turn. Yeah.
Nothing from staff.
Thank you, staff. Then this meeting is adjourned to the next regular scheduled design review board meeting on June 11th, 2026 at 5 p.m. Thank you all.
Thanks, Amir. Good job. Thank you, staff.